Pacific Oaks College is located in an urban setting in the city of Pasadena in Los Angeles County. Much like the Southern California region, Pasadena residents are racially, ethnically, and economically diverse. In 2019, Dr. Jack Pedunton was named president of Pacific Oaks College. He developed a committee to research the feasibility of meeting the eligibility requirement and apply to the Department of Education for a Hispanic Serving Institution grant. Pacific Oaks College applied with a 48.7% of its total undergraduate student population as Latinx above the 25% eligibility requirement. In October 2020, Pacific Oaks was awarded a U.S. Department of Education Title V grant, providing a $2.5 million across 5 years. These funds allowed us to implement a wide range of services to academically support our students' retention to graduation and thrive during their college experience. Students benefit from a dedicated undergraduate success center with a lending library of books and laptops, complimentary bilingual tutoring service, academic advising, a speakers series to share the backstory and successes based on a foundation of higher education of Latinx. This podcast series is part of our HSI Grants educational outreach to raise awareness of the value and importance of higher education degree attainment within the Latino community. The podcast will provide you with information on how to begin your college dream. You'll learn about financial aid in completing the FOFSA, aligning your interest with a college degree program, the application process, and what campus resources are available to you. We will share motivating stories from local Latinos who have overcome challenges and earned their college degree as the foundation for their success. You will also hear from faculty and alumni who are there to support you as a student to strive and excel, becoming self-sufficient and successful.
Welcome to Pacific Oaks College Hispanic Serving Institution Podcast. Tu sueño, tu realidad.
In this episode, Dr. Terry Webster, Dean of the School of Human Development at Pacific Oaks College, discusses the variety of pathways available for those who want to enter higher education to pursue a degree, in addition to navigating the complex systems of education in California. The discussion also addresses such issues as finding the best school and degree program for you, and how education can help you attain your dreams.
Well, I'm here with Dr. Terry Webster. She's the Dean of the School of the Human Development at Pacific Oaks College, and with Dr. Castro as well. And we will be talking about something very important that we need to always consider when we start our journey of getting a higher education, and which college is right for you. Dr. Terry Webster, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for grant us the time to be here with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Well, let's try to understand how this all works, because I was just early talking to Dr. Castro about my personal experience, that it was very confusing when I arrived here as an immigrant. Probably back there is different. There's just couple steps to get to the higher education. Here you have to know what a college degree, the major, the minors, and all the steps,
and the electives,
and how to get there. So just give us a little bit of explanation. How can we start?
It's a wonderful question, and it is a quite complex process that in the United States typically begins early on in high school. And when I've worked with students thinking about what career they want to enter and what degree they need to pursue to enter that career, it's really, I ask, what do you want to do? Where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years or over the course of a career? And how do you fit with those ideas? And what do you need to do to prepare educationally for that career path? So a lot of questions, and they come at a time when high school students are trying to make a lot of decisions about themselves and where they see themselves in the future.
So explain the difference between college degrees and non-degree programs and certificates.
So I'm going to start by using an example that I hear very often from students. Very often students will come to me and they'll say, I want to work with children. And I'm just going to list a few of the career sectors that involve working with children or for children. For example, a child care provider, or a preschool teacher, or a teacher in kindergarten through 12th grade. Perhaps an academic administrator to oversee the curriculum and the educational process for children. A play therapist, or a behavior analyst working with children on the autism spectrum. or a speech therapist. And finally, a software or media content designer who works to program television or video for children's needs. Each of these involve working with children, and each of them requires a different degree, from a certificate all the way through to a doctoral degree.
You make me think a lot right now with just that answer, because every single of those choices have a very different roadmap. And in terms of time, in terms of money, in terms of accommodations and cultural, it's a whole different universe, right?
Absolutely. And if we think about the degree hierarchy, so a high school diploma or a GED, an Associate of Arts or Associate of Science degree, then a Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor's of Science degree, could lead to a master's degree and then to a doctoral degree. And the degree you need to pursue is the degree that's going to fit with that choice you are making for your career path.
Okay, so let's start, we finish high school, and then our next step, logical next step will be community college, right?
For many, community college is a great option. In California, we have 116 campuses in the community college system. So it's very robust, each a little bit different, but all designed for an associate's degree, which is a degree that can be obtained typically in a community college or some private and vocational schools. It's typically equivalent to the first 2 years of a bachelor's degree. They're lower division courses and typically 60 units. The decision to earn an associate's degree depends on a lot of the factors that you have mentioned. How much time do you have? There's the financial implications of the degrees, your life demands, how you're going to fit school generally into the rest of your working or family life. Also, whether or not you're going to use that associate's degree to transfer into a 4 or 5 year college to go ahead and finish out the bachelor's degree.
Let's talk about in the case of many immigrants that they didn't go to high school. They came straight to the country, sometimes couldn't finish high school on their countries, and they want to pursue a associate degree.
Well, there are some associate degrees that are actually embedded into continuing education or adult education at the high schools. And so that is a very good way for language learning, for history, to be able to go. They're economical, and they are highly supportive of students who don't necessarily have kind of a typical pathway through their educational experience.
So it's possible.
It's very, very, very possible and highly recommended.
This is a question I was going to ask. Our immigrant population may have some college background or not. What is the process for them?
And it's not always seamless. And that's why doing the research and the resources available at a given community college are essential to understand the counseling support, the ability to articulate what it looks like to transfer from a community college into a 4-year college. But the community colleges are set up and equipped to really address those needs in many ways better than some of the larger state schools, although that varies as well. It really depends on the populations that those community colleges are serving and their commitment to making sure that the students, and not only the students, but the families, because the families don't understand how to navigate those systems either. So support for students and also support for families.
So then the community colleges would be for those immigrants that do come with some sort of educational degrees or for them to come finish, it would be to start with them.
In some cases, but I will give you an example of a 4-year state university with which I'm very familiar, and that is UC Irvine, that has intentionally put pathway options for Latinx families and students into place. And they are not only the number 1 transfer school, but the number 1 state UC that has programming built in to really support the needs of an immigrant population. And that's my alma mater for my doctoral program. So I'm very proud because it was just in its infancy when I was still in graduate school, and it has now become a real community effort to really support those students. The associate's degree, depending on your career sector could be the terminal degree for that. I'll just give a couple of examples. One example from Pasadena City College, which is our local community college. They offer an Associate of Science in Speech Language Pathology to be an assistant. So it's a very specific role within that with that sector, and it's going to be considered career or technical education, but it does come with the associate's degree, and that would be the degree needed to be able to engage in that career, in that role. Another, for example, though, that is more of a pathway would be an Associate of Arts in Sign Language, American Sign Language. That the students are provided the skills needed to pursue an education or careers in education or interpretation or art or in the medical field. However, that might require additional education and attainment of a bachelor's degree. So that associate's degree would be picked up along the way, but then transfer into another school, a CSU or a UC or some private schools to obtain the bachelor's degree that's needed to really fill out that role.
So I'm actually curious, totally appreciate what you just said, but I'm actually curious now with units. I mean, I have to come in to I need to transfer and I have to have units. So how do these units work in where I can transfer or how long this academic journey is going to take?
Right. The typical bachelor's degree is 120 units, and the typical associate's degree is 60. So that would be about 1/2 of the units required to earn a bachelor's degree. The way that it's structured in community college associate's degree lower division is that there are specific courses that need to be taken. They're typically English courses, history classes, philosophy classes, social science classes, and those all carry typically 3 units or science classes. And then there's general electives that vary from 1 to 5 units depending upon the community college. And it's very complex, but I think one of the things that I could recommend if a student is going to community college and they're thinking of transferring to a Cal State or a UC, is to understand what the degree they want to pursue at the bachelor's level is going to require. It's going to require some units, and then and are those the correct units? Are they the correct classes? What is so robust, especially in I can only speak to California, but what is robust about the state of California is that universities have specific agreements with community colleges to allow those students to transfer in once they've completed all of the units that they need. So, say, for example, you want to major in psychology at a four-year university. If you'll go to the website of the university and the community college you're interested in, and it will show you exactly what those pathways are. In semester 1, you will take these classes. In semester 2, you will take others. And then eventually you will take very specific classes required in the psychology major at that university. So you'll take those classes at the community college, and when you're ready, you'll transfer. It's very economical, and because those agreements are there, you already know when you enter the community college that pathway is kind of pre-prescribed for you, and you just follow it.
You also need to truly understand the courses that you need to take and what would be transferable courses, even though they could be inexpensive. But the university, your 4-year transfer university, right? Take those credits. Am I correct?
Well, I was actually on the website for Los Angeles Valley College, which is out in the San Fernando Valley, and I can't speak to say it's the same for all of them, but they have the whole pathway laid out, which course you must take that will be accepted for either a Cal State or a UC in that particular major. So it's a map. That's why working with the community college counseling teams is so essential to make sure that you know you're taking the right class and that it will be transferable into that major. So it does require diligence on the part of the student, but the community college counselors are trained in the transfer process, and they know what those agreements are with the various 4-year universities in California.
When you're in high school, someone is helping you, I would think. But as an adult learner, trying to get back with courses that you took 20 years ago in the hopes that they're still, valid as you transfer. But I think that and you made that that statement, Dr. Webster, that first of all, you need to know what you want to study, right? And then, so that is first and foremost. And number two is to really investigate the institution you want to transfer to, and also to ensure to this pathway that you just mentioned, to see whether any of these courses that I've taken 20 years ago are accepted, are valued, but at the same time that they are accepted. And so with that is then to have a counselor who can actually help me develop this pathway as to what it is that I need to do, and then to take into consideration what you just said, Douglas, to see whether I can take some of these courses somewhere else that will be less expensive and I can begin to budget. Because education right now is expensive. However, financial aid, which is an episode that we had earlier in this podcast, also brought out the opportunities that there are with financial aid in understanding how to manage that expense so you're not in great debt if you manage correctly.
Correct. And I think another consideration for somebody who is coming back to school or entering into a system with which they're unfamiliar is that the class sizes at community college are far smaller than they are in the typical UC or Cal State. One person had said years ago, if you're just coming back to school and you're rusty in math, why would you take statistics with 600 undergraduates at a UC when you could take statistics with 25 students at a community college? So I think that as well, when there's areas that you want to develop your skills and also the pace. Community colleges are on a semester system. UCs are on a quarter system. So it's
Wow.
same amount of work in half the time. So it's that pacing that you also want to think about as you're starting to re-enter into higher education. What will fit with your life in addition to what your goals are?
In this process, what is the right thing to do? Should I pick the college to build a path or build the path as you go?
It's often a little of both.
Okay.
My personal experience included. I think you look for what it is you want to do. And then you look at what your options are in terms of the colleges. Not all colleges in the UC or Cal State system offer all majors. Some are better known in terms of their research and in terms of their funding for certain occupational sectors than others. So I think you look for what it is you want to be and then start researching the schools that will take you there. I would definitely start by looking at if you're interested in attaining a bachelor's degree, I would look first at the college that you're interested, whether that's public or private, profit, nonprofit, and look to see what college ultimately you feel would be the best fit for you, and then begin examining the pathways through community college, or if you have the resources available to do so, starting right into your bachelor's degree in that particular school.
You said profit or nonprofit. What's the difference? I mean, I'm looking for an institution. Our listeners are saying, well, I just want to go to a university. Now I have to look for a profit, nonprofit one. How does that work in my process of investigation?
Well, these schools are accredited. As long as they are accredited by whatever the local accreditation agency is, you will have a degree that is viable, and you don't have to worry about that. When I'm thinking about profit and nonprofit, I'm really thinking about philosophy. So, for example, Pacific Oaks College is a nonprofit school. We are deeply embedded in core values of social justice, inclusion, equity, diversity. And so we run our entire philosophy, our entire curriculum is run through that. And we are a nonprofit. We do provide services within the community. And we do seek grants, again, for students, for faculty, and for community work. So that's the differentiation. The degrees are all valid, but it's really talking about now philosophical fit. And the UCs and the Cal States are public universities that receive public funding. So they are designed to serve the public interest and the students.
The philosophy will will pair with my interest or my way to see the life or the stage where I am in life, right? So that's going to be a good way to decide maybe where should I be targeting, So I didn't think about that before.
There are many additional considerations beyond the degree itself.
Yeah.
Because many schools deliver these degrees. But when you're thinking about philosophy or where the school is located, are you going to be commuting? If so, is there public transportation that will help you get to that site? Class size is extremely important. So are we call co-curricular activities, things like student government or clubs or affinity groups. Those varies from school to school. Residential schools versus commuter schools. And then an advising structure, mentoring, the availability of faculty and academic staff to be able to help guide you through not only your curriculum, but also some of the bumps and challenges that life tends to put in our pathway as we're moving toward our goals. So in that list of working with children, careers, say being a school counselor, a school psychologist, that's a master's degree. Being a play therapist would require a doctoral degree in psychology and perhaps an additional certification for the practice. So when you're thinking about that career, and again, you think about where you want to be, who you want to be. And if a master's degree or a doctoral degree are going to be required for you to be able to engage in that occupation, I recommend you start as early as possible, because just as high school seniors need to start thinking about their resumes for bachelor's degrees, master's and doctoral degrees, not in all cases, but in some cases, are highly competitive. They have thousands of applicants and they take very few students. And so you need to be thinking about this when you are in your bachelor's degree. Do you need research experience? Do you need letters of recommendation? Do you need to prepare for some standardized tests such as the GRE, the LSAT for law, the MCAT for medical school, and really begin preparing that and take advantage of those faculty mentors, because they will be the folks who will be providing those letters of recommendation that you are going to need. Those are some, not all, however, but really thinking about, I need this degree to do what I want to do occupationally, not necessarily I want to have a doctorate because I want to be a doctor. When we think about the motivation for that level of a degree, which is more time, more finance, and I also talk about opportunity costs. You're not doing something else while you're attaining these advanced degrees. And so thinking about really the need for the degree to do what you want to do with your life.
Can you explain certificate program and the difference?
Certificate programs are and we call them or stacked certificates or micro credentials. There's a lot of variation in the language, are evolving and becoming popular to support specific career goals. For example, in human resources, there's a certification in human resources, in information technology, stacking a variety of skill sets in coding or engineering and those. And some colleges are actually using these kind of stacked or sequential certificates to contribute to a bachelor's degree. Wow. So that landscape is kind of new. But it's always evolving, and because it's shorter duration, they're typically much lower tuition costs, but they're very specific for employers, for the employee to demonstrate that they have these additional skills. And that may be in addition to or separate from a bachelor's degree.
What's happened with someone that is not interested in maybe work for someone else, but wants to pursue their own, company, their own enterprise? And what education, what the role of education plays in that situation?
Oh, absolutely. And I should also mention that more and more of our colleges and universities in California, through their extension programs or continuing education programs, are providing for retraining to be able to launch into a career where you may not have to work for somebody else. A couple of examples from Cal State Dominguez Hills, which is a local Cal State university, they have, through their continuing education department, human resource management, meeting and event planning, project management, website development, grant writing, and maybe retraining to teach. Many people come out of their occupations, especially some older adults, they don't want to work in the occupation, but they want to mentor, they want to teach. So being able to pursue education in that way, and again, it's time limited. You take a series of classes to earn the certificate. It's done at a pace that's designed for people. So there's typically in the evening, there may be some in-person, some online classes, but they're all aimed now toward people who are thinking about doing something else with their careers. What is so promising and provides so much hope in the United States in general is that there are second chances and you can remake yourself. And many young people do not follow their parents' ideas of a traditional career path anyway. They want to have experiences in a variety of work roles and sectors. And so helping young people navigate that, but certainly this is high stakes. Education is high stakes for so many reasons. It goes into what your life is going to become. There's a cost factor. There's the time and energy and effort factor. So I cannot emphasize enough the most important thing to do, as you say, is your homework, your research. Ask a lot of questions. There are no questions that are not appropriate when you're thinking about your life. And because the education is among the most impactful decisions you'll ever make in your lifetime.
Dr. Webster, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Castro. In the next episode.
So every community college has counselors, whether they're in their transfer center or a career center that you can set up time to meet with. They're the first people that you can go to.
Amin Maksudi will talk about the transfer process from community college to a 4-year university.